Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Tesla's Cube. I'm AcceleReece, and you're watching a Hot Wheels Originals review. Today, we're taking a look at one Seared tuner that I like to call the Sho-Stopper. In the late 90s and early 2000s, Japanese tuner culture in America really started to break from the underground into the mainstream. Now, import tuner cars are all the rage today, especially in the Hot Wheels world. All you hear about are Nissans and Subarus. In the 90s, muscle cars and hot rodding culture was still all the rage, and Hot Wheels designers like Larry Wood and Phil Reelman were pioneering those kinds of castings. And so it really took a lot of convincing to get some tuners into the line. Young and upcoming designers like Eric Cherney at the time were really pushing for tuner cars, as he came from that tuner world, and he really had to do some convincing because they were like, well, why would we want to make these rice burners, right? It's crazy to think about today because of how popular they are, but at the time, things were different. And this right here, the Sho-Stopper, is the very first Hot Wheels tuner casting ever released. You know, today we get so much hype for all of the Nissan Skylines and the Silvias and the Toyota Supras, but that all comes back to this, the Sho-Stopper. A fantasy tuner car. It all comes back to fantasy. The Sho-Stopper was designed by Eric Cherney and was first released in the year 2000, just 1 year before the release of The Fast and the Furious, which really rocketed tuner culture into the mainstream. And then of course we had stuff like Need for Speed Underground and Midnight Club, and it just exploded. So Eric Cherney and Hot Wheels at the time were very ahead of their time. Now, the designer of this car, Eric Cherney, appeared on my good friend JC Squared's podcast, the Squared Corner podcast, and he talked extensively about the history of the Sho-Stopper, so you'll see me splice in clips of that in throughout this video. And strap in, guys, because this casting has a lot of history behind it. The one you're looking at right now is the first edition from the year 2000. This is what the card backs looked like in 2000.
Like that Dodge Stealthy looking thing from the rear three-quarter, it was almost like
I remember
gliding across the package. It was really neat.
This was the same year we got iconic castings like Muscle Tone and the Diora 2. This was really the beginning of the big Y2K fantasy era that gave us some really iconic castings. As you can see there, it says Sho-Stopper, 2000 first edition, number 27 of 36 cars. This is the 90s logo. This was the last year this logo was used before it was changed. Here is the back of the packaging. Hot Wheels, the world's coolest car company. Create the ultimate test track. Look at this. Look at the ads for the track system. Man, they don't make them like they used to. You could see some of the other first editions that came out that year. You can see Muscle Tone right there. Shoebox, Dodge Power Wagon. As you heard me say, this was the last year they used this logo, because in the very next year, in 2001, they changed up the packaging. And look at that. Sho-Stopper is the car that appeared on the packaging for every single car from 2001 to 2003. The new Hot Wheels logo had a bit more detail, and the Mattel logo at the corner was omitted. You had this new curve at the top of the card instead of just the flat. You had to excuse my yellowed blister. This was the copy of the red Sho-Stopper that I had. Well, since you've seen the packaging, before we get into this car's extensive history, let's get a loose copy down onto the review table and let's take a look at the Sho-Stopper. So here is the first edition of Sho-Stopper in all of its glory. You might notice the wheels are different. My carded copy of it has the 3-spoke wheel variation. There were a couple wheel variations of this Sho-Stopper, but my loose copy has the PR5 wheels, which stands for Phil Reelman 5 spokes. Now, the PR5s I think are my favorite on this car, which is why my loose copy has them. So originally, this is one of the first cars that Eric Cherney had ever designed at Hot Wheels when he first started there. Originally, he designed it for some sort of track set system that they were working on, where parts of the car would interact with the track and it would cause it to do stunts. But the ideas they were developing never came into fruition, so he kind of just had this tuner car design lying around. The Sho-Stopper finally got to make its debut in the 2000 mainline. Originally, he had sketched it in red and always intended for it to be red, but Eric was told they had too many red cars in their mainline for that year, so he had to change the color. So they changed it to yellow, and as you can see, it has a little red stripe there on the fender to sort of reference the fact that he originally intended it to be red. This Sho-Stopper is in a metal flake yellow metal body. It's got chrome PR5 wheels with a black tire. It's got a tampo on the hood to represent a carbon fiber hood, although the scoop there on the one side is not carbon fiber. We have a black interior and a gray plastic base. As you can see, it says Sho-Stopper right there on the base. We have blacked out windows, which is one of the things I don't like about this first edition, because there is an interior that can be seen inside there, but on this first edition, the windows are so black, you really can't see inside. The camera doesn't even pick it up. There's a Hot Wheels logo right there on the back window in white. And these, I believe these black vents on the sides are actually its own separate piece. And the black portion of the front grille and the rear body kit bumper is part of the interior. We got all sorts of aero, wide body, sort of body kit aspects to it. Eric said it was inspired by the Wings West Aggressor style body kits. As you can see, we got a lot of vents there in the front and the sort of triangle shaped headlights. And of course on the side, we got that cut there. It actually cuts through the body, and that black piece is a separate piece for that vent there on the side. And on the rear here, you can see the taillights molded into the body. We got a big fat back bumper there and dual exhaust that is molded into the base. You can see it's right there where the rivet is. Got two rivets. The Sho-Stopper was inspired by sort of an amalgamation of all kinds of 90s tuner cars. The Mitsubishi Eclipse is one that comes to mind, and funny enough, Eric Cherney would actually purchase his own Mitsubishi Eclipse not long after designing this car. But it is sort of an amalgamation of all kinds of 90s Japanese tuner cars. According to Eric Cherney, Sho-Stopper is at the top of the import tuner food chain. It's got a chopped roof. It's all-wheel drive with a 2-liter turboed 4-cylinder engine with a 5-speed transmission and double wishbone suspension. For the next year in 2001, they intended to recolor the Sho-Stopper, so Eric kind of whispered in the graphic designer's ears and said, "Hey, make it red." And the Sho-Stopper finally got the red treatment it always deserved, and this is my favorite release of the Sho-Stopper. So here it is in red. This time, it's got a yellow stripe on the fender, which is pretty cool. It's an enamel red metal body, plastic gray base again chrome PR5s on this one. There were some wheel variations. And we got that same carbon fiber tampo on the hood, except for the scoop. Got a slightly different Hot Wheels logo on the back window. It's yellow this time. Positioning is a little higher. And the window is now a much lighter smoked out color, so we can finally see the black interior. As you can see there, it has a big speaker system in the back, which a lot of tuner cars at the time had a lot of crazy audio systems. Also in the year 2000, there was an Avon exclusive Super Tuners box set. It was a 3-pack that came with a Muscle Tone and MX-48 and a Sho-Stopper, and it came in this sort of black metal flake with a 3-spoke wheel. Had a black plastic base, clear, maybe a little bit of smoked out window piece. We had a black interior again. The vent on the side is a nice plastic gray. It's kind of got this race livery, number 5. We got some stickers on there on the side, like Bilstein, Coney, Pirelli, Simpson, Magnetti, Arnell. I'm not sure. I'm not as much of a car guy as maybe some of you guys watching are, so if you could tell me what these car part brands are, just let me know. But yeah, this really is that sort of race car tuner style. This actually technically released before the red one in 2001. I just wanted to show that first because of the symmetry it had with the yellow one. But this is the actual second release of Sho-Stopper. Got number 5 there on the hood with a classic Hot Wheels logo in gold. So yeah, very cool release of the Sho-Stopper. But now it is time to address the elephant of the room, because some of you might be saying, hey, wait, I don't remember this car being called Sho-Stopper. It was called something else. Here in the 2001 release, you can see this card says Sho-Stopper, but on the base, it's called Seared Tuner. And on my loose copy, it also says Seared Tuner. That's right, this car had 2 different names. Here is a 2002 release of the Sho-Stopper that is in the Yu-Gi-Oh series, and bam, right there, says Seared Tuner on the package now. Apparently, there are some versions of this 2001 Sho-Stopper that says Seared Tuner on the card.
We named it Sho-Stopper, SHO-Stopper, because it was sort of a Shogun thing. It was a showstopper of a car. And at least initially, it cleared legal. Pretty sure we trademarked it. And then about a year or so later, a doll company, it had come up that they had owned the rights to Sho-Stoppers or something along that line. SHOW was a line of fashion doll clothes. Mattel, rather than fight, changed it. He would like, oh, it's like a seared tuna, right? Because it's fish, it's Japanese. And he thought he was funny, and I hated it. I wasn't consulted. I was never a fan of the name.
Even in the video game Hot Wheels Velocity X, it's called Sho-Stopper. You can see it says Sho-Stopper on the box for the Super Tuners box set there. This car has just always been Sho-Stopper to me, even if the name was very short-lived. In 2001, there was a Sho-Stopper that was exclusive to the Washington Auto Show. There were 2 of them. There was this black one, and then there was a gold one as well. I do not have the gold one. They both came in baggies. The gold one only had 2,500 of them produced. This black one only had 7,500 produced. So this is kind of a rare Sho-Stopper that I have in my collection. I believe I found this at a toy show. This one came out in 2001, and it was right before the name change. So as you can see on the base there, it does say Sho-Stopper. So this is one of the last Sho-Stoppers before it was changed to Seared Tuner. We got a black enamel metal body, chrome plastic base. Looks like we got a black interior, a sort of clear, a little bit smoked out window piece. This really cool decal on the side. I don't know if I would call it flames or like a streak or what it is, but it looks very cool. We got a mixture of orange, yellow, and blue. The vent piece on the side is black. We got chrome PR5s once again, black tire. On the hood there, we got a 90s style Hot Wheels logo and the Washington Auto Show. Not exactly sure the history of that specific auto show, but I guess maybe Hot Wheels was a guest there and they were handing out these cars. Very cool. Also in 2001, there was a Sho-Stopper in a 5-pack. It was called the City Service 5-pack, but I call it the Planet Hot Wheels 5-pack, as all the cars in the pack had Planet Hot Wheels graphics on it. This one is in a nice enamel red, metal body. Got a black plastic base. It says Seared Tuner on the bottom of this one, even though it's 2001. So in 2001, there was a lot of weirdness with the name change, because like some of them were Sho-Stoppers, some of them were Seared Tuner. Got the 3-spoke wheels, and black intake on the side. The hood is just red, no carbon fiber. We got a black interior, looks like clear windows. Very cool looking. I like this graphic a lot. It's very nostalgia. Planet Hot Wheels, Message Madness, if you're confused on what the heck that means. Planet Hot Wheels was this website back in the Y2K era. It was a big MMO, massive multiplayer online game. You would be able to race your car. There were all kinds of mini games, but also it was a social media network. There were message boards and forum posts. So yeah, during the early 2000s, there was a lot of Planet Hot Wheels promotion, and this 5-pack had all Planet Hot Wheels themed cars. As you can see, it's got the Planet Hot Wheels logo right there. And Messenger Madness was kind of a nod to the fact that there were a lot of message boards and forum posting. So yeah, this Sho-Stopper is a very cool one, a little piece of history. In 2002, we had that Yu-Gi-Oh release I mentioned earlier. I still have this one on card. I bought it for this video. So I was thinking, let's open it up. Oh yeah, freed from its blister more than 20 years later. We got gold 5-dot wheels, 5-dot master race, enamel red metal body, We got yellow piss windows, my favorite. The interior is actually blue. You wouldn't be able to tell just by looking in the window, but I can tell by looking in the vents in the back bumper and on the front. So we got a blue interior. And we got tampos for the Time Wizard. I believe that is a character from Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not sure. I don't watch Yu-Gi-Oh! I wasn't into Yu-Gi-Oh! When I was young, but I would assume that is a character. I'm sure there's Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans in my audience who would be able to tell me. Something very cool, we got a Hot Wheels logo on the spoiler there. I believe that's the first time we've ever seen a tampo on top of the spoiler, which is pretty cool. So there is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Version of Sho-Stopper. There are a lot more Sho-Stoppers that were released that I wish I could show you, but I don't really have in my collection. There was a Chuck E. Cheese one, the infamous Max Steel one from 2008 that was in a 5-pack, which is kind of hard to find. And then there is this Sho-Stopper, which came with the Spinnin' Rim track set. Hot Wheels World Race fans might recognize it as the Greatest Challenge track set. Greatest Challenge was just kind of a reskin of the Spinnin' Rim, but the original Spinnin' Rim came with a Sho-Stopper that looked like this. And the original release of the track set came with the original tooling. So we're getting into a retool now. Sho-Stopper / Seared Tuner was retooled in 2005. So I mentioned before that this intake on the side that cuts through the body is a separate piece that slots in. They had to tool that out. The original version of this car had that, but when they re-released this track set in 2005, they retooled the car, and that part is not a separate piece anymore. It is just molded into the body, and it's just painted on, as you can see. I don't have the original version of this Seared Tuner that has that different tooling. I only have the retool version here to show you. So this is the only significant retool with Seared Tuner / Sho-Stopper. It is still cool that they painted black where it would be, so it doesn't really mess with the look of the car too much, but you can notice there's just not as much depth there. I'll kind of put these two on top of each other so you can see the difference. You know, the original piece was textured. It has like that great texture, and it was tooled out because extra parts means extra steps in the manufacturing process. And especially for a car that's just coming with a track set, I can understand why they retooled that. But nonetheless, this is a very cool version of Sho-Stopper. It's in a gray metal body, plastic gray base. It says Seared Tuner on the base. We got those 3-spoke wheels again, blacked out window. You cannot see the interior, but you can tell by the bumpers that the interior is black. Got this really cool red, white, and blue tampo on the side, red stripes. There's a red Hot Wheels logo down in the corner. It is interesting that they included this car with a track set because I've never really considered Sho-Stopper like a super good track car, especially with the metal body. It is top heavy. It will flip over a lot in the loops and the curves. And the bumper is a little low, so it does scrape a little. But yeah, there's the Spinnin' Rim Sho-Stopper. The final Sho-Stopper ever released. Unfortunately, I do not have a sample here right now to show you guys, but it came out in 2009 in the Jurassic starter set. I believe this had something to do with trick tracks, but it was in yellow, had red accents with a big dinosaur skull on the side. You can see a Circle Flame logo. And this is one of the only Sho-Stoppers where they did not paint the intake on the side. So it does kind of make the car look a little different. This release of the car famously appeared in Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged, which came out recently. After 2009, the casting was discontinued as it has not had a new release since, which is unfortunate because I think this is an iconic, historic Hot Wheels car. It's the first Hot Wheels tuner ever made. So if anyone who works at Hot Wheels is listening, man, please bring back Sho-Stopper. We love this car. But before we move on to the next section, I want to talk about this Sho-Stopper. And you might be thinking, what's that? I've never seen that Sho-Stopper before. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a custom I made, and it is the very first custom that I had ever made. I made this in I think 2018 or 2019. I don't really make customs all that much anymore, but there was a point in time where I was experimenting with it. As you can see, I painted it in an enamel purple. I gave it the CM6 wheels because that's my favorite wheels. And I painted the hood black with a paint pen. Yeah, it doesn't look super good. You can see a lot of kind of cracks and strokes, but you know, it did the job. I tried to color in the vents there with a fine tip black Sharpie, but as you can see, I didn't do a super good job at it. As you can see, I tried to shade in the headlights as well, which of course are done sloppily because it was by hand. I also tried to make the taillights red with a Sharpie, but it didn't show up super well on the purple. And I painted black on top of the spoiler as well. Just wanted to show you that, thought it was neat. Going into the new millennium, Hot Wheels wanted to do some rebranding and change their brand. And like I showed before, Sho-Stopper was on all the card backs for 2001 to 2003, but it wasn't just the card backs. Sho-Stopper appeared in all kinds of marketing, as well as merch and all kinds of promotional material. This here is a little collection booklet that shows you all of the mainline models for 2002. And as you can see, we got that art of the Sho-Stopper right there on the front. What I find interesting about this art of Sho-Stopper, which appears a lot in Hot Wheels marketing at the time, is you can see on the front bumper there is a winglet. On the final car, that wing does not really stick out from the side of the bumper like that. I'm not sure if this has to do with the original designs interacting with the track, if that was part of the what would cause it to do stunts, or if I'm stretching here, but that might be the case, I'm not sure. If you were a Hot Wheels kid in the 2000s, you probably had one of these 100 car carrying cases that had this huge 3D art of Sho-Stopper. Yes, if you run your finger across it, it does stick out. It is like a 3D art, even the logo here. It's just a really cool render of a red Sho-Stopper. Sho-Stopper appeared on all kinds of merchandise from that era. As you can see, I have this tin Hot Wheels lunchbox, although mine has been signed by most of the design team from 2004. Whoever had this before had them all sign it at the 2004 Hot Wheels convention, which is pretty cool. This is really a piece that means a lot to me. Some of these guys are not even around anymore. See if you can decipher all the names that are signed on this. It was very much sort of the night shifter of its time. Of course, it's known for appearing in the video game Hot Wheels Velocity X, like I mentioned before. It was in the Hot Wheels World Race game on Team Doonrats, replacing the Toyota RSC. And like I mentioned before, it was in Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged. There were also several different versions of the car released in different lines. There was also a pullback version of it that was slightly different. There was stuff like a pencil sharpener, a stamp, and there was this chibi version in the Speed Demon series. This car was sort of everywhere at the time. Sho-Stopper also appeared in the Atomic series. Oh, hang on, let me just zoom in a bit there. There we go. The Atomics cars were about the same scale as Micro Machines. These came out in the early 2000s, and there was a Sho-Stopper in that series, as you can see here. There's a lot of different colors of this one in the Atomic series, but I'm showing you this one because it resembles the red version of the Sho-Stopper that was released in 2001. Never talk to me and my son ever again. So that's pretty cool. We got a mini Sho-Stopper. And of course we got this Sho-Stopper, this big boy, this Sho-Stopper that appeared in the Formula Fueler series. As you can see, mine is still in the package. I would love to show this to you loose, but I am saving it for a future video. But as you can see, it's a purple Sho-Stopper. It's got Nitrox 2 on the side. Some of you AcceleReece fans might recognize what that means. And the rear has been cut out for this really cool fuel tank right here. Kind of a nitrous bottle look to it. Here it is in size comparison with my custom purple Sho-Stopper. So yeah, the Formula Fuelers Sho-Stopper. There was also one that was released in blue, but I only have this purple one. So the Sho-Stopper was everywhere at the time. It is a historical Hot Wheels casting, and in my opinion, one of the most important Hot Wheels cars in Hot Wheels history, and it should be brought back. But don't go away, this video isn't over because now it is time for the Stunt Track Challenge.
Okay, get ready to race. 3, 2, 1, go! Whoa, that was a bad one.
Well guys, that was the Sho-Stopper / Seared tuner. Thank you for tuning in to Tesla's Cube and watching this episode of Hot Wheels Originals reviews. I'm AcceleReece, and if you haven't already, press subscribe for more Hot Wheels fantasy casting reviews, taking a look at some underrated cars from Hot Wheels history. If you watched this far into the video, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Guys, I'll see you in the next one. This is AcceleReece signing off. Peace out.